Mass Effect 5 should be one of the most exciting RPG games coming out in the next couple years. But honestly, me personally, I'm starting to get worried. And it's not just because the sole failure of Andromeda, there are many other reasons behind it, and it's just about everything surrounding BioWare lately. And there are a few big reasons why this game could go wrong, but if BioWare doesn't get this one right, it could seriously damage BioWare as a company and the whole Mass Effect series, which everybody knows is a very beloved series, and it holds true to the heart for many OG gamers because I grew up playing Mass Effect and I loved it so much. But before we get into this video, I'm Mr. Frosty Flames. If you don't know me by now, that's me, but you can call me Mike, and I do gaming analysis, reviews, commentaries, playthroughs, etc. And we do it in a chill way, you know, none of that over editing BS. But if you like that style of content, make sure you hit that sub button and join the Frosty Flames Legion. We're almost close to 1600, so help us get there and enlist today. Anyways, back to the video. So let's be real, BioWare hasn't had the strongest track record lately, and they had a pretty disappointing track record. You know, look at Dragon Age the Veilguard, that game sucked. Look at Anthem, that game sucked. And look at Mass Effect Andromeda, that game sucked. That game was supposed to be the next big step for the series, and it just ended up being one of the most disappointing releases in the franchise. And then Anthem, that's where things really started to fall apart. It wasn't just like a bad game period. It showed that BioWare was completely lost. The game launched basically unfinished. It had no clear direction, and within months, players just gave up on it, and the worst part about it is BioWare eventually abandoned it. I remember when BioWare was saying that, oh, we're gonna revive Anthem, but like looking at it now, the servers shut down. Look how far that went. It shows that it was just a failure and they just gave up on it. So it's like, really, what is BioWare doing now? Like, they're doing full force into Mass Effect 5, but it's like they're running off of all these failures, and makes me think that, you know, they're not gonna put out a successful game. They're not learning, because usually a game company, they would learn. Take a look at like CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk. They took our feedback, right, and they made Cyberpunk 2.0. They practically revived the game. Hell, even EA, look at what they did with Battlefield 5 and Battlefront 2. I mean, they practically revived those games through their free DLC updates. But it seems like BioWare is having a hard time listening to fans, and I know they are EA as well, and they're a bit scummy, but you know, they could easily just take what the fans want and implement it into the next game. Like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know what Dragon Age is. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to take what the fans wanted with Anthem and implement it in the next update to make it better, and players would start coming back. And the same thing with Mass Effect Andromeda. Mass Effect is the biggest moneymaker BioWare has, and they need to get it right for their own sake. They can't have like a fourth failure in a row. That would practically kill the company. I don't think that EA would delegate them to make AAA games anymore. They might just be a publisher in the background or something if Mass Effect 5 goes wrong. And this is a developer name that defined the old RPG genre. I mean, like, they came out with Knights of the Old Republic, they started Mass Effect, they started Dragon Age, even Jade Empire, games that were very beloved by fans and regarded as the greats of the RPG genre, especially at that time. The innovations that they did with like companions and relationship systems and quest systems and just overall storytelling was phenomenal, and it just hurts me to see them go down this path. I'm not sure how many original BioWare devs are still with the company today, like currently in 2026, but I know that Mass Effect 5 is gonna be going back to the roots. Apparently, this is what they say, but you know, we'll see how true that is. I know the original director apparently is going to be back writing Mass Effect 5, but we'll see how this goes. And perhaps the biggest thing that worries me is the identity crisis that Dragon Age had, and how that could possibly be implemented into Mass Effect. Okay, now Dragon Age. You look at the original Dragon Age, like Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2 and even Inquisition. They were dark, gritty games. They made you care about the companions. They weren't, you know, afraid to be blunt, to be vulgar. But it seems like everything in Dragon Age the Veilguard is Disneyfied. It's like they went too woke. And I'm not here to become like political or anything, but there is a moment, there is a time where it just feels forced. And when it feels forced, the message that you're trying to convey just loses its purpose, because it's just like, bro, like, this is not what we want. You're just forcing this on us, and it makes the players feel like kind of like isolated from like their own game. Like, they don't even want to play it anymore, because this is not even Dragon Age at this point. Even down to the art style, it doesn't feel like Dragon Age. It doesn't really play like Dragon Age. Like, you can't even control your own companions. But the thing that worries me the most is, what if they do that with Mass Effect? The biggest thing about it is, I love the original trilogy. They were my favorite games. Say whatever you want about Mass Effect 3 and its ending, but I love that game. I loved it so much. I love the original trilogy, and I'm so happy that they came out with the Legendary Edition so I could relive everything. Now, the biggest thing is, I'm not afraid of the game being buggy. Okay, we have a buggy game. That could be fixed. I'm scared that the bones of the game are going to be terrible. Something similar to Dragon Age the Veilguard. What if the bones of Mass Effect are terrible? What if Mass Effect gets Disneyfied? What if it's not like dark, or it's not mature like how Mass Effect is? What if there's like no stakes? What if they like tone down like the romance or something like that? Because that's what they've been doing lately with Dragon Age. So I don't know if they're gonna experiment and do it with Mass Effect 5. It's a huge risk for BioWare to do that. So I hope they don't do that. I want them to keep the original like tone of the original trilogy there in Mass Effect 5. But the thing is, what's worse than a game being broken at launch is a game just tarnishing the legacy. I mean, this is a continuation of the Shepard story, right? Or at least what it seems to be. I know we don't really know much, but we see Liara, we see the Geth like crater that it's obviously trying to portray, right? So I'm pointing at, we're gonna see what happens to Shepard, right? Now, Shepard is the GOAT of gaming. Like, everybody knows him. He's one of the most recognizable characters in gaming, so we don't want his legacy being tarnished and being Disneyfied. At least in Dragon Age, like, each protagonist is different, but this is Shepard we're talking about. This is the guy that we spent 3 games with, and going on his journey, making our choices, having our romance options, having our party members, and now we're gonna go into Mass Effect 5. We have to see how this goes, and we gotta make sure this goes right. We can't have it be tarnished because they want to tone down Shepard. No more renegade options, or no more sex, right? Like, that would be terrible for the series. It would be terrible for Mass Effect. That's not Mass Effect. That's not BioWare. This got to change. And listen, Mass Effect 5 isn't just another sequel. It's a comeback for Mass Effect and BioWare itself. It really has to live up to this beloved trilogy in gaming. And when expectations are this high, even a good game can feel like a disappointment. So that's why I'm expecting greatness from BioWare. They need that for their next game. And another minor issue I want to talk about is the story. I feel like it's kind of like in a lose-lose situation for them, because like, do they continue the original trilogy? Where does Andromeda fit into it? Do they ignore certain endings, or do they just reboot everything, which I doubt they'll do, right? Because no matter what they choose, a part of the fan base is gonna be unhappy, right? Because there are so many different paths that they could go, so many different things that they could leave out. Obviously, a lot of people's Shepards died in Mass Effect 3, so it wouldn't make sense for him to be in Mass Effect 5. Or if they just do a different protagonist, people are going to be unhappy saying, oh, this is Shepard's story, right? So, I feel like in that case, they're in a lose-lose situation. But I just hope that they're cooking up something strong. Okay, in the end, to be fair, BioWare can still turn this around. They've made incredible games before, so they know what works. But they have to actually learn from their mistakes, not repeat them. I guess that's the theme of this video. I do really want Mass Effect 5 to be good, I really do. But right now, I think that there's just too many warning signs to just ignore. So like in the end, Mass Effect, could bring the series back. It definitely could. Or on the other hand, it could just prove that BioWare isn't just the same anymore. But that's just my take on it. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe, join the Legion, like, comment down your thoughts down below. I love reading your comments. I'd like to heart every one of them. So comment your thoughts down below. What do you expect from Mass Effect 5? Do you agree what I said? Do you think it's going to be good, or have you just lost all faith in them? Anyways, thank you all for watching. Mr. Frosty Flames out. Ciao.